All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and start. It is a small meeting this time. And, you know, whether that's because people are sad about the Christmas count or, you know, whatever reason, or they're having fun with the holidays, you know, then we'll just go ahead and do a quick version of the meeting, and it should be a lot of fun. So hello, Brody. Hello, Brody's grandfather.
Hey, Brody.
Is that your, that's your artwork, right? Behind you, Brody?
My money's on Brody for all the
I think you had actually shared that with us before, didn't you? That
I might have. I think so.
So you have some exotic birds up there. Some really neat exotic birds.
Yeah, most of them are from Australia. I was doing just like a scene there.
You know, I recently.
Did you get a haircut, Brody?
All right. I love that painting. Was that oil or acrylic?
Thank you. I used mostly pencils.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And some pens.
That's very good. With pencils and pens, that is very good.
You know, I recently got the, my wife and I like to play the board game Wingspan, which is like it's a bird game, has a lot of bird content in it. You know, it's not, I don't know, it's a lot of fun and I like it a lot, but it's sort of complicated as board games go. It's a, you know, a medium weight board game according to people who obsess about playing games. But to me, it seems pretty complicated. But they have expanded it twice since the game first came out. And the first expansion was to add European birds. And then the second expansion that just came out was to add Oceania, so Australian and New Zealand and, you know, Eastern Asian birds. So that's very exciting. So a lot of those, you know, cool Australian birds that I haven't paid much attention to before, I now pay a lot more attention to because they're in the new Wingspan expansion. All right, well, I just wanted to, you know, this meeting is going to be sort of unusual. It's just a quick talk about the unfortunately canceled Christmas count for this year. Hopefully, you know, Brody, you got that email message and you were aware that the count was canceled. I do want to make sure that people realize that, you know, even though that I ended up deciding we should cancel the count in solidarity with the, you know, the stay-at-home order and helping out healthcare workers by minimizing our group activities, that going out for appropriately distanced bird watching is very much an okay thing to do under the stay-at-home order, and people should keep bird watching and keep enjoying the birds around. Just maybe not in a big group setting the way we were originally planning to do. And we will do that next year. So it'll be a lot of fun when we get to it eventually. So it'll be a very long scouting period for the 2021 Carpinteria Christmas Bird Count. Okay, was there, I mean, again, it's a small meeting, so there aren't a lot of folks here. I mean, Brody or, you know, your grandfather, whose name I don't know, so I can't call you by name. If you guys have any questions or comments about the Christmas count, we could, you know, I could answer those. We could talk about it. We can also just move on.
Also, for my birthday, I got a trail camera, which I put at a palm tree right by our bird feeders, and I got a bunch of different birds. I got a house finch, lesser goldfinch. I got also a bunch of quail that went under it too. That's
exciting. So yeah, you can bird watch virtually now.
White-crowned sparrows too. Yeah, it was really cool.
And I see, so is it Keeney? I don't know your name, but you have your hand up?
Yeah.
I saw some common ground doves about a week ago.
Oh, wow. That would be a great bird to get if you can keep track of them until next year's Christmas count. That is a species, I don't know if we've ever had it on the Christmas count. I know they are around.
You don't see them very often.
Yeah.
I saw some probably about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, they are very hard to see. I mean, there's only a few of them around. They like avocado groves, is my
understanding.
understanding.
Avocado grove, yeah. That's where they were. There were about 5 of them.
Oh, wow.
That was fun.
Well, if the count were going forward, I would be pestering you for many more details and trying to make sure you're going to just camp out at that spot on count day to try and add them for our count.
Okay.
Next year. Okay. I did also want to share Jenny's scouting trip that you made, Jenny, to Jameson Lake. So you were there last weekend, right?
Saturday night, and we got to bird on Sunday there.
So you didn't do any birding on Saturday as you came in. You pretty much.
You know, we did. It was very, very windy. It was pretty quiet, and I mean, we did look around, but didn't really get anything different than we saw on Sunday.
And you had sent me some photos. Can I share those and ask you to
course.
kind of discuss what's in there?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. How do I want to do this? It'll take me just a second. Okay.
Something happened. It's turned off. Oh, no, he's showing something.
Yeah, so I've done the screen sharing. So I'm curious if I put this in full screen or slideshow mode, what it's going to do. So can you still see the shared screen at this point?
Yeah.
Is this all right? Oh, I don't want it to slideshow. Let me go back. Okay. So what are we looking at, Jenny?
Okay. So this is the area near this Jameson Lake area. It's about 6 miles behind Carpinteria. It's in the count circle, but it's really difficult to get to. Basically, it takes a couple hours from town to get there. And the way you go is Gibraltar up to East Camino Cielo. And you follow East Camino Cielo until the road ends at Romero Saddle. Right there, there's a new Forest Service gate that's locked. We had the invitation from the caretaker of the dam who opened the gate for us. From there, you drive about maybe 8 miles to the dam through another series of 2 more locked gates. Normally this area is open to the public, the gates are open, but because of road damage from storms a few years ago, it's been closed. And this area is seasonally closed in the winter to protect red-legged frogs and arroyo toads, which are really prolific back there. This is like the one area near us where these animals live. They're both threatened or endangered species. Jameson Lake is a reservoir for the Montecito Water District. They get their water from the upper San Ynez River, kind of the headwaters area. They also take water from Alder Creek, which is a tributary to the San Ynez River, immediately adjacent to, or really close to the lake. What we're seeing here is Alder Creek flume. It's destroyed right now because of debris flow after the fire. There's some burn stuff that happened too from the Thomas fire. But this flume carried water from the upper parts of Alder Creek through a tunnel and into Jameson Lake. And the Montecito Water District has authority or authorization to take only a certain percentage of water from the creek. They're not allowed to take all of it. And the reason is because this creek supports red-legged frog and they need to leave water for the frog. During the Thomas fire, the structures at Jameson Lake, which included a caretaker's cabin and some maintenance sheds, were destroyed. Those are being rebuilt right now. We got to stay in one of them. There's a bunkhouse and the caretaker house, and they're very nice and fire resistant, and they're not quite finished, but we got to sleep inside one of them. And the next project is rebuilding this flume. This is, a environmental quality, or this flume repair project is going through environmental review. And that's going to be a really neat thing to work on. I don't think I get to work on it with my consulting company, but I'm pretty jealous. Basically, it's kind of like the log ride. The water just goes through this suspended kind of tube up there. So this is Alder Creek, a beautiful spot. This is actually where Franklin Trail, if you were to stay on it, this is where you would get to.
Right. It eventually gets all the way up to the crest there, and then it descends, and there's a campground on the way down. And then eventually it gets down to it comes down into Jameson Lake or close to Jameson Lake.
Yep. I think it's called Alder Camp.
Yeah. So
Sounds
this is
beautiful.
So this flume, I don't remember seeing it on the trips I've made to Jameson Lake. Is this on the south side of the lake, basically?
It is. And you need to go, there's that Forest Service road that takes you past the lake going toward Ojai.
Yeah.
You just go a little bit up that road and then to the right. So you're just right on the other side of the peak from Franklin.
Yeah, I've gone in, the times I've gone in there, we've gone in that direction, but we've just birded like where the Upper Santa Ynez River comes into the lake, sort of at the east end of the lake.
It's very close to there.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna continue then. If I can figure out how. Here we go. Oh, I should do it this way. No, that's not gonna do it.
Some of these wooden supports had big scratches on them from bears.
Oh, neat.
That was kind of neat to see.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's only a few miles away, but it's wild country out there. There are not a lot of people around, and the bears consider it their home. So I thought this was a cool photo.
I took this, and I'm still learning how to use that camera, but I took this through a chain link fence, so it's a little funny. This is well, I guess maybe Cody or anyone have a guess what this little guy is? It's hard to see. I know.
I'm sort of thinking maybe a brown creeper. I don't know.
That's an awesome guess because the shape is similar, the color is kind of the same. But this guy, instead of creeping on trees, is hopping around on rocks in the creek bed. And it's one of my favorite bird songs because it's very different and it just makes me smile whenever I hear it. It's called a canyon wren. They're not terribly common, but in the canyons, if there's a stream, that's where you're gonna find them. So I was happy that I got a good view of this guy.
Yeah, I do love hearing them also. So here, I guess we're looking at the dam from kind of just beyond the caretaker's compound, right? If you continue up the little ravine there.
Yes, this is the spillway, and this was built in the 30s, I believe. There's two pretty big plunge pools at the base of this spillway. I didn't get close to it, but I imagine it's full of pond turtles and lots of frogs and other neat stuff there. Just really, really neat to see.
And you were talking about the different amphibians and stuff. I mean, you've done biological assessments of the frogs up there, right? That's like you've been in there for your job, checking stuff out.
We did years and years ago. We were doing studies on red-legged frogs where we were inserting a little transmitter under their skin or as an attachment, like a little backpack. And then during the day, we would use our radio telemetry to find where they were hiding because they go off into the upland areas during the day and come back to the pools at night or just to see what they were doing. So that was a lot of fun.
It does seem really neat. I'm envious. I mean, besides just being envious of you getting to go out there at all, but this is the area out there that Alan, the dam caretaker, has never let me go to. Like he's always like,
Really?
Oh, going down that trail towards the dam, there's more equipment there, and they're uncomfortable if I let a lot of people go in there. So you were special. You got to go into this cool little pocket of habitat at the base of the dam and check it out.
Alan, the caretaker, has been really busy making trails and improving trails. And basically on Sunday, he took us on his rounds where he had to go and do the meter readings that he takes the readings he needs to take. So that's really the only reason, or at least probably why we got to go here.
Yeah, you had a reason to be there. You weren't just saying, "Oh, can I wander
Right.
off down here and look at birds?"
Right. There's a little bridge to get to the, I don't even know, this little shed where he collects data, and the water pipeline is suspended on top of the bridge. So you're walking right by the pipeline. And I don't think I took a picture, but foxes are walking on top of that pipeline that's on the bridge, and they're pooping on top of the pipeline because they like to announce, or they like to show other animals that this is theirs. So there was some really funny little deposits from the foxes up there.
So this is a cool view. This is like up above the dam, basically, or to the right of the dam, I guess we are in this shot.
We're kind of in the middle between the spillway and the dam, and we're looking toward Ojai.
Yeah, because I remember this view. So like, this is the log boom, right? That goes, that kind of protects this end of the lake from floating stuff.
Right.
And it looks like you've got some ducks on the water over here. Like I want to get out a spotting scope and check out what ducks those are. It's.
Yeah. I think you can see that canyon on the right side of the photo. That canyon, I believe that's the Alder Creek drainage.
Okay, yeah. And then I guess way off in the distance, this would kind of be the Murrieta Divide area, right? Way off, up like the upper Santa Ynez River.
And he showed us Old Man Mountain, which is just to the left of there somewhere.
Yeah, and that's, again, one of the things that's disappointing about having to cancel this year's count is we were going to have really good coverage up in that northern and northeastern part of our circle compared to previous years. We were going to have your team out at Jameson Lake. There were a couple more groups that were going to be based out of, the Ramiro Saddle area and maybe hiking down there on count day. And then Brad Hacker was going to come in from the Murrieta Divide side. He was going to come in from, up Matilaha Canyon and basically hike in there. And Alan was saying that Alan Pritchard, the dam caretaker, was that in the afternoon after he got done with you guys, he was maybe going to hike back up in this area too. So with all of that, that doesn't necessarily translate into more species, but it would have been exciting just to know that we were covering that much more of our circle than we normally can. And next year,
we'll get him. We'll get him next year.
Yeah. Were you raising your hand to say something, Brody, or were you just?
No, I was just.
Yeah, solidarity. Yes, next year. All right, what's the next photo we got here? Oh, yeah. Cool raptor, which Alan had told me there was a lot of raptor activity in there with the new grass coming back since the Thomas fire. So
right. Also, we saw a very dark morph red-tailed hawk. We saw a Cooper's hawk. We saw a red-shouldered hawk. And then we got at least one northern harrier, which this is kind of blurry, but this was right adjacent to the lake. Alan told me he's 99% sure he's got 2 condors sighted this year. But he wasn't 100% sure, so he didn't want to eBird it. But I said that would be, not terribly out of the realm of possibility, and keep it for count day. That would be great.
If you can arrange for them to be there on that one specific day. Yeah, I mean that's exciting. I know there's been a couple of sightings this past year from Ventura County, just east of Santa Barbara County, like not that far from this area. And yeah, they're going to be, when they cruise through, they're going to just cruise on through. And I know there has been successful breeding in Santa Barbara County, like up in the Sierra Madre range, in the last year or two. So keep looking up. There's always a chance to see one going by, and that would be an amazing thing to see.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think there was one more photo, was there not? Or at least one. You got these guys on the lake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Purple head.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And Alan, he patrolled the lake on foot every day and on boat at least once a week. And he said that Saturday was the first day of the fall that he had seen him.
Yeah.
There weren't very many, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah, no, they're out there. We had what do we have out there? We had common merganser there a couple of years ago, and that was the only place we got it on the count. So it's
Wow.
definitely a good place to check out. Oh yeah, and you had these on the shore.
Oh yeah. This was a new bird for me.
So these are Wilson snipes, right?
That's what I figured too. I looked them up and
Yeah.
there was just 3, but those were neat to see.
Yeah, that striping on the back is a good characteristic to kind of narrow things down, separates them from like dowitchers or other things they might be that are similar. So what part of the lake was this on?
This was, I think this was up in Hunncal Creek.
That northern part of the lake, yeah, which has always been one of the best birding spots the times I've been there.
Mhm.
There's a lot of interesting stuff out there. So did you actually get to did he take you around the lake on the boat, or was it?
Yeah, we putted around on the boat. We didn't land anywhere, but we will do that on Saturday. He'll land us in a couple of spots and then we're going to hike around and look for more stuff. And
Awesome.
Peter's going with us with his whole family. So it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, that is great. And, you know, again, it's not officially the count, but I'm super curious what you guys managed to see up there, because that's
You should come.
yeah, no, afraid I can't do that, but again, next year.
We'll
for
report
sure.
back. Yeah. And, you know, planning ahead for next year, if the road's not open by then we can work with Forest Service to get permission to bird in the riparian area over by Pendola Station.
Oh, neat. So kind of when you get down to the bottom of the hill, if you go, is that the stuff to the left? If you go like
Right.
west along San Ynez River.
And it is open if you get there on your bike or hiking. But for us, driving there, wouldn't want to do without permission, what Alan was saying. So, but the road might be open next year, so we'll see.
Yeah, and again, there's great habitat there. You know, if we've got the people, let's send them out across the landscape.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop the screen share. But thank you a lot for sharing those photos, and thank you for going out to the lake. And yeah, Brody, did you have something to add?
Yeah, very.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that a week ago, I think I saw a bufflehead or two in the Kim's Market Creek.
Yeah.
That little pond there by the market?
Yeah. I saw a bunch of ringneck ducks and some mallards, some rock pigeons, but those ones really showed out to me. Me and my dad were just driving by. I was just like, oh, there's a bufflehead. We stopped at the gas station, went back, and then I sat there for a few minutes just taking pictures. I went down at the bottom and laid on my legs and just took a bunch of pictures.
Yeah, that wall there is just, it seems like it's designed to make bird watching difficult. You know, it's just in the exact wrong spot, or the hardest spot to see.
Yeah, so I just like went under it. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, as I've said before, that's a key piece of a weird small piece of very important habitat for our Christmas count purposes. Okay, well, that was pretty much everything I was going to talk about with the count. I guess I did want to share one thing that Marv Quitt forwarded to me that I really enjoyed. It was an article that was in Outside Magazine recently, and it talks about eBird and the changes that eBird has made in how people bird. And it just had a lot of pretty interesting ideas that you know kind of hit home with me. The title is "How eBird Changed Birding Forever." And if you're interested in eBird and its effect on birding, I encourage you to go check out that article. I put a link to it in the description of the YouTube live stream, and it's in the blog post about this meeting at carpwithoutcars.org. And one thing it did talk about that hit home with me was it linked to a post that Justin Stahl posted on the San Diego birding email list about how he feels eBird has created this this perpetual big year, how, county birders, because eBird ranks your county birder rankings, according to how many species you have in the year, it's hard not to, if you're like me, to get competitive about that and try and get more birds. So in fact, that's kind of what got me really into birding recently, was working on my Santa Barbara County year list rankings in eBird. And he makes the case that, it can kind of be there's other kinds of birding that you could do, other things you could be doing with your birding time that might be more enjoyable or more, more worth doing in some sense. So I thought that was an interesting discussion, and I'm going to see if I can take that to heart. Maybe this year is the year that I won't be so obsessed with my Santa Barbara County eBird list. One of the things that it talked about in that Outside magazine article also was the 5MR idea. This is a project that some people have started up to do birding within a 5-mile radius. And it's sort of an alternative to the county birding or the state birding or the larger big year efforts. It says just take a 5-mile radius around your location and just bird all the locations within that radius. And I thought, in this context of having canceled the Christmas count because of the concerns about people traveling a lot and wanting to, honor the stay-at-home order, maybe some 5MR birding, some 5-mile radius birding would be a good direction to channel people into if they're looking to do more birding or they want that structure, they want a competition. Well, you can compete like just within that little 5 miles, and you can see how you can do at that. So I shared a link to that as well. Okay, so any other questions or comments or feedback? I assume all of you got my email about my, agonizing over canceling the Christmas count this year, and, tried to share my thoughts there about why I did it and why I thought it was worth doing. Certainly, I would emphasize to anyone watching this, people watch it after the fact, maybe there'll be more people than are here right now, but just that it is fine to go out and bird. Birding is something you can totally do under the stay-at-home order. Don't do it in big groups. Maybe limit your travel. Don't travel to far distant places to see the latest rarity. This is me talking to myself right now, not so much any of you. But you can still go appreciate birds, and you should. And I mean, everybody should. And I will get back in the mode of trying to whip up more enthusiasm around that and make it a big collective project for the 2021 Christmas count. It'll be December 18th, will be the first Saturday of the count window next year. So not this year, not December 18th this year. That would be tomorrow, which would not work. But December 18th of 2021.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything from Santa Barbara. Did they also cancel?
As far as I know, they are still planning on going forward.
Okay.
Yeah, and to my understanding, the Kachuma Christmas count is also planning on going forward. So, in the Kachuma count's case, it's a smaller count without as many people, and I think they're, arguably not, they're less likely to be concerned about the issues that concerned me with the Carpinteria count, just because we have a lot of people and we're putting them all out there. The Santa Barbara count is a larger count. I know Rebecca Coulter, the main organizer of that count, in discussions with her that I was having as part of the whole, deciding what we were going to do with the Carpinteria count. She expressed that she kind of goes back and forth, or at that point had been going back and forth. I haven't heard anything more from them. They're usually the last Saturday of the count window, so they have, 3 weeks more than we did to really get to crunch time and have to decide. So they may be waiting to decide until they're later on.
Yeah.
And it was also, I think, going to fall outside of the stay-at-home order. It was going to be after the end of at least what had been announced as the end of the stay-at-home order. I'm not sure there's much reason to think that conditions will have improved dramatically by then, so that may not be much help. But they may just be saying, well, let's wait and decide when we have all the information we can get to make the best decision we can.
I wanted to say thank you just for setting up these meetings every 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. Well, you're welcome, Brody. And as I've said before, you are a huge contributor to them. So I'm glad you're enjoying them, and I'm glad you keep showing up. Okay, so the one other thing I did want to do as part of this meeting was I thought we could do another one of these eBird photo quizzes. We did this once back in June in the Finch meeting. And, you know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It seemed like a fun way to kind of move on from the, you know, potentially depressing topic of the Christmas count we're not having this year, and do something fun and have a little collective birding experience, maybe not on the scale of the Christmas count, but it is sort of, you know, still looking at birds and identifying them.
And I really like those that you do. I really like doing the bird quizzes.
Okay, well then, good. Let's do a bird quiz. Let's see. So I believe what we wanted to do is what we did last time, which is to ask for Laurel to be the keeper of secrets. So Laurel, so my idea is that we will do this bird quiz. We'll show the photos. And then there'll be a brief interval for you to decide what your response is of the available responses. And you can use the Zoom chat feature to send a private chat message to Laurel, who is in the meeting, but her camera is off. So Laurel, I believe, is prepared to receive your private chat messages. Here she is. Yes. Hello, Laurel. And Laurel is pledged to secrecy. So my idea here is that, you know, people might not want to share their guesses because then you'd be publicly wrong if you guessed wrong, and that's embarrassing. But this way, only Laurel has. You only have to be embarrassed about Laurel because she won't tell anybody else who guessed what bird. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and get that going. I need to share the screen again. So it'll take me a second.
Can I tell you too?
Yeah. What's that, Brody?
Can I tell you my guess also if I want?
Oh yeah. You're welcome to guess out loud. I mean, wait. Well, you'll see. We'll give a short interval for people to make their own guesses. And then if people want to just share their guesses, that's fine too. Yeah, if people don't care, we don't have to do the whole funneling your guesses through Laurel thing if it's just, you know, more trouble than it's worth.
Well, I'm waiting for Brody to make his guess before I answer.
Okay. Let's see. This and this, I think is what I want. Okay, so if I've done this correctly, you should be seeing the eBird photo and sound quiz. And we're just going to do the photo quiz. So why don't we actually test this? Let me test the sending a chat to Laurel. So if you can find let's see, how do you do this in my Zoom? So I can do it by getting the participants window, and then I can select Laurel S. Luby co-host, and I cannot do it there. Where do I do it? I always lose things in Zoom. I can never find them when I want to find them. Yeah, I'm still not finding chat. Oh, there it is. So I have it under my More menu in my meeting controls. So you may find it somewhere else. But within chat, once I get the chat window, then I can pick Laurel Luby as the person who received my chat.
So I have
Sending
two
her
people,
message.
3 people now.
All right, so I am one of those 3. So if you want to participate by funneling guesses to Laurel, send her a chat to confirm that the communication channels are open and working. Okay, but with that said, let's go on and have the fun part. This is getting, you know, long-winded, as I am prone to do. So I'm going to start the quiz. I'm going to go ahead and use my current location. I should have just kept the one that I had because it now can't find my location. All right. Yeah, we'll just do there. Some random place in Carpinteria is perfectly fine. We'll make it for today. How do I do that? Today. So it's going to be birds that might be seen around today in Carpinteria. And we're just going to do photos. And why is it not happy? I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. Because my location is blocked. Let's try it again. Here we are. Make it today, make it photos, start quiz. Okay, it's working. Okay, so here we have a photo and our choices. Are you all seeing the photo? Give me a thumbs up if you're seeing the photo. I see thumbs. Okay, that's good. So our choices are Lawrence's goldfinch, American goldfinch, Lapland longspur, chestnut collared longspur, or none of the above. I'm going to send my guess to Laurel.
It didn't seem to work. I mean,
And oh, and you know, I also had Jeopardy music. I wanted to play Jeopardy music. Is that working?
Yeah.
Jeopardy music. So that's your 15 seconds. Okay. I don't know. That seemed to me like it would be fun to do. Now I just feel embarrassed. It's kind of dorky.
I think it was good.
Yes. In honor of Alex Trebek, right? The late
Yeah.
Alex
It was
Trebek. In memory of
very-
Alex. Brody, I see you've got a hand up. Do you want to just go ahead and blurt out what you think this bird is?
Yes, Lawrence's goldfinch, I believe.
That was my guess as well. So Laurel, do you want to summarize whatever input you received?
I had 2 Lawrence's goldfinch and 1 none of the above.
All right, well, we will let none of the above remain anonymous. I'm going to guess Lawrence's goldfinch, and we'll see if that is correct. And it is, hooray. I'm going to say that's a 1-star photo. So the whole point of eBird having this quiz is they want to collect ratings. So these are unrated photos in eBird that they're showing to us. And in order to get to the next photo, we have to give it a rating. So, ooh, tough. Okay.
I don't know all of this.
So we've got a bird here. It is a choice. The choices are white-throated swift, black-chinned hummingbird, Anna's hummingbird, Costa's hummingbird, or none of the above. It's going to be a challenging one. Clues that are available. This photo is actually from Santa Cruz, California in September. So that gives you some help if you are up on your hummingbird dates and distributions within California. That may narrow the choices down. But let's go ahead and have the Jeopardy music. We can think about this for our 15 seconds. All right. Laurel, can you summarize your input you've received?
3 Annas.
All right, seems to be a pretty strong consensus. Jim, I saw you waving your hand. Did you want to say something? You're muted currently.
You're
Can you
muted.
unmute? All right, Jim, you're currently muted. Brody, I see you've got your hand up. Can you unmute?
Yes, I believe it is Anna's also.
All right,
I
well,
see
let's
a-
go ahead.
I feel like I see a little spark of red on its chin, which is,
That little bit of gorget kind of feathering that the females get.
yeah.
Well, Anna's was my guess as well. Yeah,
That was
Jim.
my guess. I just can't seem to get into the other thing because I'm pretty lame on this stuff. But anyway, that was Anna's was my guess.
Okay, so we definitely are feeling like it's Anna's. Let's cross our fingers and yay, we are correct. And I'm gonna say that's a 2-star photo. All right, bird number 3. So it is tricky to get, like, it is hard to get, there are 20 photos in the quiz, and it is hard to get all 20 because in the photos, we are very likely to get some that are very, very hard to identify. Like it's a little speck and, you know, who knows what that person reported it as. This one, we have a better view though. So our choices here are Bell's vireo, gray vireo, Hutton's vireo, yellow-throated vireo, or none of the above. All right, so let me activate Jeopardy. You have your 15 seconds to think about this one.
I'll vote after the fact.
Okay. Wait and see which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it is a good, oh, I didn't even send my guess in to Laurel. I was so excited listening to the music. All right, I'm putting my message into Laurel now. Okay, so it's a good guess that it is some sort of vireo, since those are all the choices they gave us. Brody, did you have a guess?
I'm a little rusty on my vireos. I don't know them that well, but I'm just gonna go with Bell's vireo. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I went with none of the above myself because I think this is actually a different vireo that they didn't give us as a choice. And they do do that a fair amount. That's like that. None of the above choices one you definitely want to consider because they will try and trip you up with that. Laurel, can you summarize what input you got?
I have 1 Hutton and 2 none.
Okay, and Jim, were you going to say something?
I was going to say Huttons because I always confuse Huttons with something else in my yard. So I was all about the Huttons. So anyway,
Yeah, so
I'll put it for Huttons.
the Hutton's vireo is the one that looks a lot like a ruby-crowned kinglet.
The white eye ring, yeah.
Yeah, with that sort of broken eye ring. So
Right.
this one, you can't see it really well because it's got this bug in its mouth, but this has more of the spectacles. It has like a
Yeah.
white line
Uh-huh.
here between the eye and the beak, and then a circle around the beak. So it kind of gives it
Yeah.
a spectacled look. So I'm suspecting that this is actually a Cassin's vireo. I could be wrong. You know, these other choices doesn't really look like any of those to me. I mean, I'm not super expert on vireos either, but I'm thinking it's probably a Cassin's. That's what I would think if I saw that bird myself. So let's go ahead and go with none of the above. Yay, we were correct.
Ah, neat.
Are those very common here, John?
I wouldn't say they're common. I mean, they're around. You know, they're got to be in the right habitat for them. They like the oak woodlands, I think. You know, again, I'm kind of chasing after my list species, my needs list, so I don't necessarily get to know them as well as I should, because once I see them, I stop trying to chase after them, you know. But I probably see Cassin's vireos, you know, 6 times in the course of the year as I'm out birding in this habitat. So yeah, they're not there all the time. I mean, if you knew where they were and you really looked for them, you probably would see them more often. All right, let's keep on going. I'm gonna say this is a 2. I'm a pretty harsh rater of eBird photos. Okay, here's our next bird. Here's our Jeopardy music. And this time I'll remember to tell Laurel what I think this is. Oops, no, we don't need any more time. Okay, Brody, you got your hand up. What do you want to say about this bird?
I want to say that it's Western tanager, so none of the above.
You and I are on the exact same page. That is exactly what I am thinking as well. All right, and then Laurel, what was our official count of guesses?
2 nuns.
All right, well, I think I know who guessed that.
Right. I might
We'll
be
see.
missing some because but I think that's it too.
Nice.
Yep, I think we were correct. It is a Western tanager.
Either non-breeding or juvenile, one of the two.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of the orange there, right? So could be a male that's just getting some of the breeding feathers in there. I don't know my Western tanager plumages as well as I should, so I don't know what to expect so much at different times of year, except if I saw that bird, I'd say, oh yeah, Western tanager. All right, I guess I'll give that one a 3. It's a pretty good photo. Okay, then.
Oh my God.
Let's see what we think about this bird.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure what I think about this bird. All right, and I've again forgotten to email. I have to send my message to Laurel.
Yeah.
Okay, Brody, what do you think we have here? You're a duck fan.
I think it's a wood duck who has had a very rough day.
Oh my God.
A wood duck that is not really in his really proper
Yeah.
resplendent wood duck plumage. Yeah,
I can
was-
really tell a wood duck when I see one. I love wood ducks were like my starter bird. Like, yeah, so I really like them.
yeah, I can sympathize with that point of view a lot. So yeah, I also thought it was a wood duck after I thought about it for a second. You know, not some of those. It's got some wood duck features to it. You know, it doesn't have the whole shebang, but it's got enough of it that I felt that was probably
Yeah,
a good guess.
the red eye is a really good thing to look for.
Yeah. So Laurel, what did the people who responded say?
One wood duck.
Okay. All right. So you know what? I think we could dispense with the whole going through Laurel. Laurel, you could just relax.
Okay.
We'll just share our answers.
I can now play, right?
Yes, you can totally play. You should. Yes, I meant for you to be playing the whole time. So let's say this is a wood duck, and hopefully we're right.
That is a
Hey, we're right.
sad-looking duck.
Yeah, that's a wood duck who's been in a fight or something.
Yeah.
I think it's just like, it's probably just a molt stage, right? It's coming out of its eclipse plumage. It's starting to get its fancy look. All right. I would have given that 3, but I'm going to knock it down to 2 because of the watermark they put on it. Okay. Well, this is fun. So here's a partial look at a bird.
So,
Okay. Well, let's talk about this bird. So it's a hummingbird, clearly. Right? The photo was taken in Nevada in August. So that's maybe kind of helpful. So this brownish on it, you know, when I see that around here, I'm typically thinking, okay, it's probably either a Rufus or an Allen's hummingbird. For it to be expected around here this time of year, it probably would be an Allen's hummingbird, which is one of our choices. So I think that's the one I would be inclined to go with, but I'm open to other suggestions if people have other ideas.
I do Allen's.
yeah, I was doing an Allen.
All right, let's say
Yeah, so
Allen's.
do I, because with the Allens and the Rufus, they just seem to have sort of more green top than the Rufus do.
Yeah, although
That's what I think.
yeah, I mean, this being probably a female bird, you know, it can be a little tricky. You know, the female Rufus, female Allens can be very hard to distinguish in the field. But yeah, I mean, this time of year, I mean, we're really trying to guess is what did the person say when they submitted it? And I don't think they would put this in for our list as a Rufus / Allen's. I think that it does have a species identification probably. So I think Allen's is the best guess. So let's go ahead and take our guess. And oh, it's a Rufus.
Ah,
It was entered as a Rufus. Well, you know, so females, you know, they're very hard to tell apart.
Wow.
All right. Well, I'm giving that a 1 check because I don't like that. Okay. Well, what do we have here? Another challenging bird. All right. Jeopardy music. Okay, so what do we think about this bird? Someone say something about this bird.
Lincoln.
Lincoln. I say
Yeah.
Lincoln,
Yeah,
but
I could see that.
not very confidently. Lincoln, but
He
I
does
think-
know.
I'm sort of leaning to none of the above. I'm thinking it might be a white crowned sparrow tan morph. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna say
Well,
Rufus crowned.
I thought
Ah.
it has a Rufus crown.
yeah, it does. So it's really just very tough because seeing it from this angle, we can't really see like how long its tail is. To me, it looks like a pretty small, short tail, but maybe it's just because it's pointing right at us, so we can't see how long the tail is.
Is that a swamp sparrow thing, the length of the tail?
You
Or
know, I mean, except for the California towhee, which I think we can exclude out of hand,
Yeah.
I could see a case for any of Lincoln's swamp or Rufus crowned here.
Mm.
You know, Rufus crowned, I guess I don't really like because I feel like the tail should be bigger. Like I think of Rufus crowned as having a bigger tail. And I don't see any hint of like the eye ring. There should be a white eye ring on a Rufus crown. Now, granted, it's shaded, so it's hard to tell. I mean, Lincoln's, it's got a big, broad gray, eyebrow, which is a Lincoln's thing. I just don't know what to think about this bird. It was photographed in Texas in December. I don't think Rufous Crown makes it that far, do they? I don't know how extensive their range is. I do know that we have to start going faster though, or this game is going to take way too long. Okay, so show of hands or vote. Like, if you think Lincoln Sparrow, go ahead and give a wave. We got one vote for Lincolns, 2, 3 votes for Lincolns. Tom, are you voting for Lincolns?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so we got 2 votes for Lincolns. Swamp Sparrow?
Yep.
We got 1 vote for Swamp Sparrow, which has been reported around here recently. So I could see eBird saying, oh, this is in the mix, because it's not just common birds. They'll give you rarities too. Okay, so we got 2 for Lincolns, 1 for Swamp. I'm going to skip California Towhee. Rufous Crown Sparrow.
I'll say,
We got 1 Rufous Crown Sparrow, and I haven't given a vote. So Lincoln's was the one we got 2 of? Is that
Yes.
right? All right. I say let's go ahead and guess Lincoln's and keep our fingers crossed. Oh, Swamp Sparrow. It is Swamp Sparrow.
I knew.
You knew it was a
I
Swamp
didn't
Sparrow?
know.
You were right, though. You said swamp,
Good
right?
job.
Yeah, but I guess.
Oh, well, that was a good guess.
John,
Yeah.
just as a comment, this really makes me appreciate how difficult even identifying a bird from a photograph is. From all that I've wondered about photography, and you're right, the angle of this, even though I'm not, I'm still a novice birder, it makes it complicated even with a photograph. And I just throwing that out. This is really a cool picture because of that for me.
Yeah.
It's still hard. It's still hard even with a photo.
And I was talking earlier about how eBird has changed birding. For me, I do a lot more birding of other people's photos, than I did pre-eBird. And it's true. It's like photos are awesome compared to looking at a bird in the field because you can study it. You can hold up the field guide right next to it. I mean, you have your time to really look at all the details that are visible. But it's also horrible because you only see that one view of the bird. You can't wait to get a better look at it or see if you can't hear it, all kinds of things. You can't see how it's moving. Anyway, all right.
Neat.
I guess I'll give that a 2. Well, I'm going to give it a 2. It's going to be pretty bad for me to give it a 1. Okay. Here's a fun little woodpecker. I'll play Jeopardy again. Okay, so anyone want to shout out a guess?
I
Downy.
want to put Downy. Yeah.
Downy.
Downy.
I think the consensus is overwhelming that this is a Downy Woodpecker. Yes. And I'm going to go ahead and give it
Yeah, because I would guess so hairy if you couldn't see its beak, but since you know that the Downy Woodpecker's beak is a lot smaller than the hairy's.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I agree 100%. Alrighty. I'm going to skip Jeopardy for this time, just I want to go faster. You've heard the music enough.
I say Sora.
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 Yeah. That Sora beak, that sort of gray face with the black mask, and then that sort of chicken-like beak. Sora, I agree.
Pretty neat picture.
Yeah. I'm still only giving it 2 checks, 2 stars, but it's a good picture.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh my God.
So here's a bird in Monmouth, New Jersey, that is also seeable in Santa Barbara County at this time of year. Okay, so we got a nose from Jim.
I have no idea.
No idea.
From Tom.
I don't think it's I'm pretty sure that it's not a lesser yellow leg, so I'm just gonna go with the Pomeranian Jagger, whatever that is. I'm not sure.
So my understanding is you pronounce it Jaeger. but it's
Oh,
it's an interesting word. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting bird name. I
Yeah, I
agree.
don't
This
even know what that kind. I don't even know what bird that is. I'm just gonna go with it. I don't know.
Yeah, so this is definitely some kind of Jaeger. We got a turn down here, but presumably this is the bird we're being asked to identify. I would think this is probably a parasitic Jaeger. Again, I don't know my Jaeger distribution that well. Around here, at least, if you can see it from land, usually parasitic Jaeger should be your starting, position. Like maybe you can argue yourself into a Pomeranian Jaeger or some other kind of Jaeger. We have Pomeranian, we have parasitic, and we have, what's the third Jaeger that we have around here? Long-tailed Jaeger. I think it's probably a parasitic Jaeger, which would be none of the above. I could be wrong. Could be a Pomeranian Jaeger, and I'll feel really bad. But I think I would go with none of the above because of the parasitic Jaeger possibility. So,
All right, let's go. None of the above.
give it a shot. Yay, parasitic Jaeger.
Nice job.
All right, on we go. Oh, here's a fun photo. So again, this is the thing with a photo. Like, you can't see much of this bird, but in this case, the part you could see is actually really helpful.
I got one of those on the Christmas count 5 or 6 years ago at Toro with
Yeah.
Marv.
Yeah, that is the
Golden
place to
crown
see.
kinglet.
Golden crown kinglet.
I think
My
golden crown.
son in Portland, who is not a birder, sent me this picture, a picture of this like a month ago, and said, "What is this bird?" And that's so pretty obvious with the golden crown there.
Yeah. Oh, cool. All right, so
I want to say none of the above because I think it's a tree swallow.
so I was inclined to think it's a scruffy looking barn swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it molting? It does seem like a scruffy looking barn swallow.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like an immature, which
Yeah,
would maybe
okay.
account for it not having a really long tail too.
If you could see the tail from underneath, that would or above, either way would be really helpful because you could see if it had the fork tail.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm the little bit of sort of buffy coloring down below. I don't think you'd see on a tree swallow. I'm not positive.
I noticed that. Yeah, probably a barn swallow then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we okay if I go barn swallow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barn swallow. Yay.
Nice.
We'll give that one a 3.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention I saw 2 swallows last weekend on the one on the
Jameson?
lake, one at the lake, and one on the way in at Romero Saddle.
Awesome. Now, were you able to get them to species or just swallows?
They were brown, and I thought I could tell a little bit of a whitish or lighter rump. That's it.
Well, one of the silver lining on the cancellation of the Christmas count is I don't have to stress out over trying to figure out if we can make these swallows into a specific species or not.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Yeah, so any swallow is good for us this time of year. That's a great bird to see. I'm going to say 3 stars. I had one of these in my backyard today. All right, so all the choices are warblers. Just sort of a helpful indication that we're in the warbler area here. Tennessee, orange crowned, Lucy's, Nashville, or none of the above.
I say orange crowned.
And I say orange crown.
Yeah, orange crowned. I know it's not at Lucy's or Tennessee because those ones are pretty much both black and white, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Lucy's is mostly just kind of gray, but definitely not this sort of greenish color.
Yeah.
And Tennessee would have kind of Tennessee kind of looks like an orange crowned, but it has like this short little tail, and it usually has like white. It would probably have white visible on the undertail coverts. I think this sort of broken eye ring with the dark eye line, a little bit of that. That's like a good look for an orange crowned warbler. I think we can say this is an orange crowned warbler. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
We've got a dangerous bird here.
I'm sort of thinking none of the above. I'm thinking Cooper's because it just like has that like strict look to me. It's just like looks serious. But I think it's none of the above.
It's actually very helpful in this case that they don't have either sharp-shinned or Coopers in the list because we don't have to. Oh, none of the above, clearly. Because
I agree with Brody. I agree with
Yeah.
Brody on.
Yeah, I agree with Brody also.
All right, we'll go with none of the above. See, they said it was a sharp-shinned.
Yep.
Hard to tell. I mean, that species pair is still tricky for me.
Yeah, but to me that looked like a Cooper's because it just has like a strict face. I don't know why. It just
It looks angry, right? It doesn't look
serious,
surprised.
yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna give that one check because it's kind of not a great photo, but it is a cool bird, and we got it right anyway, so that's good. All right. So this is interesting. We got multiple species. If you look carefully, like we've definitely got some geese down here at the bottom that are either Canada or cackling. But I assume this photo is about this one bird flying away.
I know it's not a fulvous whistling duck because I know those ones by heart, just like I know the wood ducks. I know pretty much every single duck almost. But I know it's not a fulvous whistling duck.
Yeah, I think this white and black pattern, we can pretty much get it down to snow goose or Ross's goose pretty easily.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
No,
I'm thinking Ross's.
Okay, and what pushes you in the Ross's direction?
I'm just thinking Ross's. I don't know.
It's a feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. So the characteristics that I've learned to differentiate Ross's and snow goose are not really useful here because they involve like details of the beak and the face pattern, and the snow goose has that dark grin patch on its beak and sort of has a scalloped edge to the edge of the beak, where the Ross's is more straight up and down on the edge and it doesn't have that dark grin mark. Maybe there'd be more I would know if I were smarter. This is in Wisconsin in March. Do Ross's geese, are they a Western species or are they all across the country? Some of you like people with Eastern birding experience. Do you remember Ross's geese? So I could consult a field guide, but I feel like that would be cheating. We should do this based on what we know.
Yeah, I don't know Ross's geese.
Well, they do give us both choices. All right, Brody, I'm gonna go ahead and endorse your feeling because it's stronger than anything I got. If it's a snow goose, that's okay, but maybe it's a Ross's goose and we'll get to celebrate. Snow goose. All right, well, it wasn't a very good photo. Let's move on. All right, this bird.
Oh,
I'm thinking yellow crowned night heron.
what a great photo. That's a great photo.
Yeah, sure is.
And it really does. I mean, having spent a bunch of time documenting those yellow-crowned night herons we have in the Carpinteria salt marsh these days. Yeah, that is the yellow-crowned night heron beak structure there. That sort of swollen, heavy beak.
Yeah.
The black-crowned night heron's beak is pointier and thinner, and there's some other characteristics too. But yeah, I think yellow-crowned night heron is a good call there.
In Georgia in July.
Yeah. Got 4 geese explicitly mentioned, plus the none of the above choice. So we got Ross's goose, greater white-fronted goose, Brant, or cackling goose.
I'm thinking greater white-fronted.
Oh,
Me too.
do you want me to teach you how to go through the door?
Yeah, I agree. I think we have a greater white-fronted goose here.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's go ahead and pick that up. All right, I'm going to say that's a 3. It's kind of a busy composition, so I'll give it a 4. All right. We've only got a few left. This is 18 out of 20. Okay. So it's a flycatcher of some sort, broadly defined.
I'm sort of thinking Cassins just because I feel like the Westerns gray would be sort of lighter and it's yellow is sort of relatively darker than the Western, I think.
Yeah, I think I would go with that too.
Yeah.
I'll go with Brody on that too.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
light
I
the
agree.
light mailer patch here seems pretty distinct. Like the Western kingbird is more like it's larger and diffuse. It's not that tight little patch of white like that. It's hard to see. It almost looks like there could be a white edge to the tail, which would be good for Western, but I think that's more likely just a photo artifact. I think that if anything, it has this light terminal band, which is more of a look that the Cassin's kingbird has. So yeah, I agree. Cassin's kingbird. We go ahead and pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Hooray! We're right. A little fuzzy, so I'm only going to give it two stars. Okay, so here's a bird who's been sticking its face in some flowers, I think. It's kind of a funny look that you see in the birds, and like when they're feeding in the eucalyptus trees that flower in the winter here, the yellow-rumped warblers get this look a lot where they're just like, their face is all black and sticky, you know, it's just, they're in there like with nectar all over their face from feeding on flowers.
I know it's a bush tit or a wren tit. I'm leaning towards bush tit
Yeah.
because of
say-
the eye. Oh wait, no, the wren tit has that too. Oops.
Yeah, but I like the way you're leaning, so keep leaning that way. I think this is a bush tit. I think it's a female bush tit because the male bush tit doesn't have that light iris.
Yeah.
You know, the female has that light iris.
Huh.
Yeah, Jim, did you have some input?
I was gonna, to just blow into our yard each morning. I was interested in the white iris you're talking about. I would guess a little bird that looks like a ping pong ball with feathers is a bush tit. But Brody, I haven't looked at wren tits recently, so I'm not sure. I would guess bush tit.
And
Yeah,
I
would
think,
think.
yeah.
Go ahead,
this
Tom. What were you
bush
saying?
tit's gonna go, well, this bush tit's gonna go bathe in a bird bath.
Yeah, crowded with 20 other bush tits.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, I think a wren tit would be, I think, browner in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
You know, but I actually, there was someone on Twitter, I can't remember who it is now, but in bird Twitter, there was a woman posted a quiz photo of the day kind of thing, and it was a bird being held in the hand by a bird bander, and turns out it was a bush tit, but it looked like the beak was really huge, and people are going back and forth, and I originally guessed wren tit, and I said no, the color is wrong, I think it's a bush tit, and it was a bush tit. So, and in this case, I think it's a bush tit also. Yep. All right, we'll give four stars for that bird. And our final bird. Oh, cool. Okay. So all of our choices are grebes.
Hmm.
And I believe these certainly are grebes.
I'm pretty sure it's not an eared grebe. I'm leaning toward Western or red-necked.
Yeah.
Thinking red-necked, maybe.
Okay, well, anyone else want to weigh in on that?
I'll say Western,
I thought Western.
except the front one might be a Clark's, but I'll say
I would be inclined to go with Western grebe on these as well. Red-necked grebe, the neck is going to be kind of shorter and sort of thicker. You know, it's hard to tell, and grebes totally change their appearance, right? You'll see them where they've got their head all the way just laid down flat and you can't even tell how long their neck is. Or like in this case, this one on the right has its neck stretched out. This one's maybe more relaxed. So it looks like it's, got a different shape to it, but I've been thinking these are both probably Western grebes. And then the thing with Western versus Clark's, right, is again, like Laura was saying, how much the white kind of surrounding the eye is more of a Clark's thing, but it varies, between the breeding plumage and the non-breeding plumage. And the Clark's beak, I think, should be yellower. Although, again, it's really hard to judge color in a photo because you don't know what the lighting was like. But I would think that the beak would be yellower if these were a Clark's grebe. And Clark's isn't one of our choices, but of course it could be none of the above. But I think Western grebe is probably the safest call in this case. And if it turns out to be Clark's, well, I'll dock them a star if that's true. Yay, Western grebe. All right. So I think that's it. So how do we do? I think we got 18. 17. We got 17 out of 20. So these are the ones that they cruelly took away from us. He said this was a snow goose. Yeah, okay. This was a swamp sparrow, and it's hard for me to feel bad about that. And I said this was a rufous hummingbird, which again, you know, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe, though I should have been smart, maybe Allen's hummingbird is more of a California species, right? It's not so much inland. And this photo was taken in Nevada, so maybe that would have been smart for me to think, oh, wait a second, maybe it's a rufous hummingbird. Yeah. All right, anyway, that was fun.
Something I wanted to say was I newly learned like a few nights ago that bird show that I was watching, it showed the western grebes just like sputtering across the water with the reeds and stuff. I thought it was hilarious. I burst into just started laughing hysterically, and I was just like, what the heck?
It is hilarious. It is hilarious in person. It is hilarious in person or on video. And they do it. Like if you're out there at, you know, where Lake Kachuma, where they have a lot of western grebes and Clark's grebes that breed out there.
What do they do it for? Like, is it a mating courtship or?
Yeah, it's a courtship display. It's a thing where they rise up and they run across the top of the water together with their beaks arched over. It's
yeah,
really
they're just like
amazing to see.
using their feet. It's really funny. Like, it's just weird. It's really, yeah.
It is weird. It is one of those weird and wonderful things that birds do that just boggles my mind that they really do that. You know, it's not just something you see on nature documentaries. If you're in the right place at the right time, you'll see them do it in the wild and go, wow, I saw them do that. Okay, well, that was fun for me. And, you know, again, just my final word on the Christmas count. I really appreciate that everybody has been so understanding about this, you know, really tough decision that I ended up having to make on this. And, you know, I feel bad for taking the count away from all of you. It was, you know, really one of the things that I really have enjoyed about this group in particular, about Carpinteria Birdwatchers, or what has become Carpinteria Birdwatchers, is the exciting, you know, bringing people on board and getting them excited about birding and going out together at the Christmas count specifically, you know, to sort of celebrate our enjoyment of birds together. So it really is a shame that we're not going to have that this year. But next year we will have the best Christmas count ever. So we'll get to 160 species, unless it rains, in which case we won't, but maybe we will.
Good.
Okay, so anything else from anybody? You know, I probably will go ahead and have a meeting in 2 weeks. You know, it could be that it'd be a good time to take a break if the relative light attendance of this meeting is an indication. People have a lot of other stuff going on right now, so maybe they're not as into getting together for these meetings right now, and we can, you know, take a break and come back in the new year. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brody. We'll decide, watch the blog. You know, maybe we'll do a meeting in 2 weeks. Maybe we'll skip the next one and you know, start over again in January. But in any event, go out, have fun, look at birds.
John, thank you for all your efforts. It's been so rewarding and really fun to meet everybody and share the enthusiasm you have and that everyone has. It's been great. Thank you, and happy holidays
thank
to
you,
you.
James.
Yeah.
That's been very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
Holidays.
Bye.